Welcome to the 10-Minute Treasurer. My name is Jeff Pospisil, and I am an accountant. And I'm going to be comparing two different denominations to see which one offers the better benefits. So if you're not aware, probably you are if you clicked on this, by the way, that the United Methodist denomination is splitting. There's going to be a United Methodist denomination that continues on, and there's also going to be a Global Methodist denomination. And I just want to look at it like an accountant, and I already looked at what the costs are, and I'll put a link to that video in the description, but this one is looking at what are the benefits. So before we start, I'm just going to give you a rundown of the benefits that I'm going to look at. And just remember, I'm based in the Dakotas, so this is looking at the Dakotas UMC and what benefits they offer. And other conferences will have different benefits, so I just encourage you to think through what your experience is with your own denomination or with your own conference, and then also explore their website and see maybe you've been missing out on some of the benefits. So that's always a good place to look. But the benefits I'm going to look into is, first of all, what is the connection? I think that's a valuable benefit. It's kind of hard to put a monetary value on it, but there are other numbers we can look at. The services that are provided for the church. I'm mainly thinking of the church, by the way. Pastors, there's other benefits for them, and I'm not going to focus on those. And then there's the access. So the access to different services, maybe you get a better deal as a United Methodist versus a Lutheran or I guess a non-Christian or whatever that is. The last one that I'm not going to look at this video, but I do want to look at it with somebody that knows a little more than I do, is the supply of pastors. And that's probably one of the bigger ones for most of our churches that they think about as the benefit of being part of the United Methodist denomination. So that one is going to be the video after this one. All right, so when we look at the connection, this is what I mean by the connection. I mean the number of local churches, so our congregations, the pastors, and I do break this out, active and retired pastors. Active pastors, those are non-retired pastors that are United Methodist serving in a local church. So I'm not diminishing the value of retired pastors serving in a local church or active pastors serving in extension ministry. Those are valuable too, but remember, we're looking at this from the viewpoint of a church. Retired pastors, I'm going to include them, and I don't know if I should or not, but I'm going to do it. First of all, a number of retired pastors still serve in retirement, which is, so that's the benefit piece. It also is a liability in some cases, as the number of retired pastors, we are supporting them through pension and health coverage as well. And then the members, I know that's not everybody that's associated with our churches, but at least that gives us an idea of the number of lay people that are part of each one. And so for the United Methodists, and again, this is as of 2022. So this is as of today, which is the beginning of August in 2022. The number of churches in the Dakotas UMC, 235. Number of active pastors, 127. Number of retired pastors, 147, and that's been a concern, as we have more retirees than actives. That's probably not the right direction. I mean, our hope is to grow the denomination and get and have more places for people to serve, and that we need people to serve. So, and then the number of members is 36,000. I was kind of quick on the trigger here, but for the Global Methodists in the Dakotas, 0 churches as of today, 0 active pastors. There is 1 retired pastor, so that is Global Methodist, and then there's 0 members. So that's quite a difference. But let's go ahead and look at it 2 years from now. All right, now when we flash forward, I'm just going to go ahead and look 2 years in the future, and I'm going to give you my best guess based on what I think I know. And if you got a better guess, put it in the comments. I'd love to see, and maybe we'll bet a soda on it. And 2 years from now, I'll be collecting sodas. Just kidding. I don't know. But roughly, this is my guess, is that roughly 25% of churches will go to the Global Methodist. And so here's what it'll look like in the Dakotas. 170 churches. One other thing too is you're going to see fewer churches altogether when you look at it, because first of all, there's just a lot of challenges for a church. You got COVID, you got inflation, you got the political environment, and then you have a split on top of it. And all this is going to be very difficult for churches. And so I do think we're going to see a higher than normal rate of church closures. Active pastors down to about 100 from what were we at, 120 something, 127 I think. Retired pastors, I think will stay about the same. So I think there'll be enough retiring, because I don't think many retired pastors will actually go to the Global Methodist. I could be wrong about that, but I just don't think they will. And then for members, I see that going to 26,000, and that is a little bit bigger of a decrease than that 25%. And partially it's because there are some larger membership churches that are planning on moving, or at least are taking steps in that direction, such as Aberdeen First, Fargo Calvary, Watertown Cornerstone. Those ones are higher membership churches, and that'll skew things a little bit as well. So on the Global Methodist side, I'm going to estimate maybe 50 churches. I think there'll be a wave this year and a wave next year, and then I don't know after that. Active pastors, I just kind of went down the list and I came across maybe 25, and then maybe 5 retired pastors, and then roughly 9,000 members. So, and again, you're going to see a loss of members of about 1,000 from what it was earlier. And again, I think this conflict is not going to help things. For the both denominations, by the way, are going to have a struggle. It's a long-standing struggle, by the way, of denominations in recruiting pastors. And it'll be interesting to see how successful they are, especially given the timing of trying to recruit pastors in this environment. All right, let's look at the services. And again, I'm trying to think of this through the lens of a local church. So one of the big services for the United Methodists is the moving is paid in full. You know, moving cost roughly $5,000. So to move a pastor, $5,000 using the current moving system we have. So we have professional movers. The church doesn't pay anything for it. The pastor might have to pay if they go overweight, but the church, that's paid in full. Archival services, paid in full. That's just available. I don't know how much that would cost if a church wanted to pay for an archivist. There's various grants, and again, these are the grants that are aimed at churches, and it's roughly $200,000. The biggest ones are relating to rural ministry at this time. There's also Builders Club grants. There's breakthrough ministry grants, campus ministry grants, those kind of things. And then there's also a slew of grants for brand new churches, and for pastors, and even like Dakota Wesleyan, I think they get a grant for about $65,000 a year. So there's other grants that go out as well, but the ones that are focused at churches, roughly $200,000 for 2023 anyway. And then there's this other one, coaching, and that's just what I want to call it. It's that oversight and coaching that is aimed at helping a church, and that's going to be provided by your district superintendent. There's coaching for new churches, which might be helping you launch another campus or another service or an online service or something like that, not just a traditional new church plant. There's rural ministry coaching. That's a bigger thing since we received that Lilly Fund grant. And then revitalization as well. So revitalization, that's a big part of it too. So all that is going towards coaching. So when you call up your district superintendent or the conference office, hopefully somebody's there to walk with you and your church as you're trying to navigate whatever challenges you're facing. So on the Global Methodist side, I'm going to guess that moving is going to be paid for by the church. My own denomination, what we end up doing is, I'm Wesleyan, so we pay for our own pastor's moves, and sometimes that's meant having a bunch of guys go down with a semi and loading up the pastor and bringing him up here. Sometimes that we do get movers and have them pay for that. Anyway, that's up to the church probably, and paid for by the church. Archives, I don't know if there's going to be an agreement. I would hope there'd be an agreement to share the cost of the archives within the denomination, so that there might not be any extra cost for that, and I don't know what the cost would be for a local church anyway. Chances are, I mean, if you don't have an archives, I think some of that historical information will just get lost, which should be sad. And grants, I'm not sure what'll be available for grants. I don't see a whole lot, not nearly as much as the United Methodist. So those grants, I don't think will be available as much. And even for when you look at the new church side or what's given to pastors, I don't. If there is something, it'll be limited, just because they don't have the history of it all. I mean, a lot of the grants have been paid from resources that have been built up for years, if not even decades. And then coaching, there will be new church coaching, and there will be some help from a district superintendent type of person. And some of this is coming online, so we'll see what else happens. I don't know, again, if they have a conference office, there'll probably be somebody to give you some kind of advice. It might be the district superintendent, it might be a staff person. But anyway, that'll be somewhat more limited than what the United Methodists are able to provide. All right, and now we have the access. And I kind of think about this like membership levels. I don't know if that's the right way to think about it, but so when you look at, let's just say, for example, the camps. We have 3 of the best camps, and United Methodist, the camps are focused on you and providing you the services to benefit your church and your youth and your adults too, as a matter of fact. So you're going to have preferred service. So most likely the programming is going to be designed for you. Same way with the mission sites, with the UMVM teams and different things. You're going to, when you call in, you're going to get the preferential treatment, I believe. Foundation, you're going to have full access to all the services. Westpath, you got the full access to all those services as well. Now the Global Methodist side. The camps and the mission sites, they're still going to serve you. I mean, they serve Lutherans, Catholics, different organizations. You're going to get service. And unless there's some kind of an agreement, you're just going to get that regular service, but not the preferred service. There is a chance that maybe the 2 denominations can come to an agreement, and maybe you'll get preferred service to have a, whatever it is, a youth week or something at the camps or something like that. That might be a little bit different than what just the average Lutheran or Catholic might get. Foundation, you'll get full access, but I do put a asterisk there because, a lot of the grants, if you want to call those services like the Builders Club grants, I don't think those are available for Global Methodist. And then there might be a couple other ones depending on what the donor intent is, but I'm pretty sure they're for United Methodist. So anyway, so I put an asterisk there. So the investing service, being able to set up your endowment, being able to manage your current endowments, all those are services the foundation is committed to providing. And then Westpath, you get full access. You get the same service basically as the United Methodist. All right, as you could see, the benefits from being United Methodist are quite a bit better than being a Global Methodist. If you watched the previous video on the costs were also more. So again, you kind of get what you pay for to some degree. If you're going to pay more, you should expect more benefits, and that is what you did see. One of the big ones that's missing, of course, is what about my pastor? If you're a local church, am I going to have a pastor? What kind of pastor am I going to have? And I'm going to provide that one next week. So until next time, God bless.